And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Let's get there. We need to build this community as quickly and efficiently as possible. So hit subscribe, watch, comment, and share, because the chaos, the nonsense, it's not stopping. Now look, Trump has always admired the Middle Eastern countries. He admires them for their sovereign wealth funds. He admires them for their power. Now, when he took office in January, I actually warned everyone that he was going to start to go after, as Mohammed bin Salman did, the corporations and the billionaires. Now, it's begun. It's begun with his attacks on companies like Intel. And now, Trump is considering taking a stake as well in Lockheed Martin. Ben Meiselas, my co-host, and I spoke about this on Political Beatdown just last night. And I want you to take a listen. Play the clip.
Here is Howard Lutnick, Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary, from the cabinet meeting this morning, saying that capitalism is seizing the methods of production for private companies. Here, play this clip.
Right? The Biden administration had given $11 billion to Intel, given it to them. Done. Corporate just gift. And you turn that into really, it was like less than 5 minutes of conversation. And Intel agreed to give us 10% of their company, which of course was worth $11 billion. So it's not socialism. This is capitalism.
That's not capitalism.
Well, let me show you this other one. Lockheed Martin's next. Here, play this clip.
What about defense companies, though,
for America?
Secretary? Why shouldn't the U.S. government say, you know what, we use Palantir services. We would like a piece of Palantir. We use Boeing services. We would like a piece of Boeing. There are a lot of businesses that do business with the U.S. government that benefit by doing business with the U.S. government. I guess the question is, where's the line?
There's a monstrous discussion about defense. I mean, Lockheed Martin makes 97% of their revenue from the U.S. government. They are basically an arm of the U.S. government. They make exquisite munitions. I mean, amazing things that can knock a missile out of the air when it's coming towards you. But what's the economics of that? I'm going to leave that to my Secretary of Defense and the Deputy Secretary of Defense. These guys are on it and they're thinking about it. But I tell you what, there's a lot of talking that needs to be had about how do we finance our munitions acquisitions. I think a lot of that is talking. And now you have the right people in the jobs and Donald Trump at the head thinking about what is the right way to do it. I tell you, the way it has been done has been a giveaway.
The hell? Time out. Secretary of Commerce? Seriously? Lockheed Martin is a arm of the United States government because they are a contractor that provides things like aircrafts, as does Boeing, as does Korean Aerospace, that provides parts and stuff like that. What the hell is he talking about? Let me ask you a question. If they're going to start going after every single company that has any contract or any connection whatsoever to the United States government, what about Cantor Fitzgerald, his company that turns around there with their eSpeed that does bond swaps and so on? In fact, all of the bond swaps come off of United States bonds. So therefore, why not give up 10% of eSpeed, of Cantor Fitzgerald? I mean, these idiots are so fast to blow smoke up Trump's ass when it comes to this. Could you imagine what he's saying? That this is capitalism? This isn't capitalism. This is following what Vladimir Putin did, but somewhat differently. You may remember going back into like the year 2000 when they had what's called privatization certificates, when Russia ended up privatizing all of the companies. Yes, those companies belonged initially to the Russian government. And when they sold them, they didn't take 25% or 10%. They kept 25% of the privatization certificates, which is different. I'm still trying to figure out, like with Intel, how did the company itself, a publicly traded company, rationalized to shareholders that are paying hundreds of dollars per share, that they just gave away X number of shares to the United States government. I don't know how the board of trustees, the board of directors, how they rationalized it to their stockholders. I don't get it. I'm so confused.
Donald Trump sends a nasty post about Intel and the CEO. The CEO shows up, meets with Howard Lutnick, meets with, other Trump representatives. They cut this deal. To your point, what happens to shareholders? What happens to, this overall system? And it also, in terms of Intel, the utter capitulation, what precedent that sets when the United States government now says, oh, I like that. Now I'm going to go after this company, this company, this company, this company, this company. And Intel, with a proud history as an American company, now has in my view, a present and future of shame. And here's the thing too. This is why Trump wants to get rid of museums. Believe it or not, Cohen and Brigaders, museums don't predict the future. So museums are not forward-looking unless it's a futuristic museum, but museums tell the story of the past. And we know that if we don't learn the lessons of history, history repeats itself. So it doesn't take a genius to know where this goes inevitably, because we've seen it before in countries. This leads to massive Great Depressions.
So let me ask you this, right? Let's just use instead Lockheed Martin. And as we all know, Lockheed Martin is a producer, for example, of the Raptor aircrafts and so on. Well, what if hypothetically the CEO, as he's sitting down with Nutlick, turns around and says, yeah, thank you for your offer, but why don't you go fuck yourself? That's what I would say if I was the CEO. No, seriously. Why don't you go into one of those little rooms over there, and why don't you go fuck yourself? I'm not giving you 1 cent. I'm not giving you 1%. I'm not giving you 10%. Oh, I have an idea. You want to cancel the fucking contracts? Sure. Now, why don't you let me know who's going to go build your fucking Raptors? Who's going to go build your aircraft? Seriously? At what point in time do you turn around? If I am the one that's doing it, you don't want to give us another contract? No problem. We'll just take our facility. We'll take our engineering. We'll take our property rights, our ownership, for example, in the design, and we'll move it off to China. We'll move it off to Canada. And you know what? We'll build our shit over there where I don't have to worry about you and your tariffs and your extortion. Why not just turn around and say that? The same thing with Intel. Who's going to now be able to duplicate what Intel uses, what Intel purchases, the government purchases from Intel? Who's going to go ahead and now what are they going to do? They're going to copy their proprietary, rights there. I don't understand why they capitulate. It makes no sense to me at all.
When it's also against their own, this isn't going to help them. This is against their interest. And the whole creep into fascism, Cohen, I've always been just wondering, and I feel like one of those last survivors in a zombie movie as the zombies are going, I'm like, why are there all these other zombies? And whatever happened to being a normal human being? This CEO of Intel, ostensibly to get that position, went to great schools, rose up through the ranks, was in power struggles with people, knew how to exert influence. And so the fact that you can't just be no, we're not doing that. Go tell him to go F himself. Or, you know what, Donald, you want to be the president who kills Intel? I will go and do a press conference to our shareholders and say, we stood up to you in this moment. And if they want to vote me out in this moment as the CEO to capitulate and give you a stake, let them do it. But I'm going public. and I'm going to be courageous. And I'm going to stand up and say, no, this is not the way it works. And the shareholders and the market can punish me for that or not, but I'm going to do it. There are so many people, companies, universities, law firms that let this guy roll over. Here's a data point, Cohen, that I'll do a video about for the morning. Prime Minister Modi of India, it's been widely reported he has not returned Donald Trump's phone calls 4 times. And Trump's trying to reach him again. And Modi is saying, F that guy. You know where I'm going? I'm going to meet with Xi Jinping before I take a Donald Trump phone call. So he goes out to China, the first time doing that meeting in 7 years. And Trump called 4 times. I want you to think about how, and this doesn't get reported in American media, how pathetic is it that you, as the president of the United States, can't get your phone call now picked up from the prime minister of India? That would be unheard of in any president in the past. And what the prime minister of India is doing is, frankly, what the prime minister of Canada should be doing, and what the president of Mexico should be doing, what the head of the European Union Commission should be doing, what Keir Starmer, what I understand that America, because not of Trump, but because of our past history, is the largest economy in the world. I understand that. I understand that Trump's threats could harm other economies. I understand that. I understand that America still has the biggest military in the world because of our history, not because Trump did anything magical, but because of United States leadership in the world. But it's enough of coddling this idiot. Honestly, he exhibits the signs of dementia, and I'm not a doctor, I can't diagnose it, but he exhibits these signs. He's physically decomposing before our eyes. He can't speak in sentences. And when he does, he talks about being a dictator and how he's made DC incredible and how the restaurants were closed and now they're open, which is not true. It's actually the opposite taking place. You have him talking about Gavin Newsom and saying Newsom's very handsome, but he does weird things with his hand. Like, why are you giving Trump's whole political career, just people, I think about the head of Teamsters. I think about Sean O'Brien, for example. You're the head of Teamsters. Stop.
But Ben, before we get into Teamsters and all that, stay with me for a second. Put you back on the screen here. All right. People understand what Intel actually is. It is a technology company, meaning that they have certain trademark. They have certain proprietary trademark rights to CPU units, central processing units, that the United States government's computer systems run off of. Now, if in fact that the United States government can substitute it with something other than Intel, God bless. Then you bring them in and you can have a complete discussion over how much money the United States government pays to Intel for their service, for their CPU units, for their technology. But until such time, it brings me back to the point why the CEO of this company rolled over to get his belly rubbed by this administration. It makes no sense. The same thing holds true for Lockheed Martin and others. They have rights. They have patent rights on certain technology. They are the ones that are building our aircrafts, the ones that the United States, by the way, has an exclusive right to purchase, every single one. So if they buy, for example, from Lockheed Martin, if they buy, say, 150 aircrafts, that's not 150 aircrafts for the United States alone. Because of the value of the contracts, there is an agreement that only the United States can sell certain military equipment to any other country, and it has to go through the United States government. Okay, that's the trade-off. That I understand and I can accept, but I cannot accept The United States turning around and saying to a company that produces CPU units and technology that if you don't give us 10% of the company, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're not going to buy our CPU units anymore? Go ahead. Fine. Fuck you and all your computers. All 100 million of them. Go now replace them with something else. And by the way, when those companies fail or that there's some sort of a hack into it, then you'll give us a call and we're going to be years behind. At which point in time, China will overtake you. I mean, I don't understand. I just don't get it. I don't understand what this CEO is doing. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.